time for another round of Brandy. Candid conversations over cocktails about all things brand with your hosts, Reilly Newman and Scott Saunders, the brand developers behind Motif Brands.
Hello and welcome back to another round of Brandy. With a little brand news, as of this morning that I saw when I was checking the news, apparently Hooters is filing for bankruptcy, or at least bankruptcy protection through Chapter 11. And according to the founder, what the most interesting thing I saw was that, quote, it's for them to reposition kind of the brand and to kind of put it in a new light.
Reinvent themselves, I guess.
Right, and maybe call it tutors or something instead. But they plan. His word choice is interesting, where he was focusing on more like family fun entertainment,
family-centered eating establishment.
The only thing that came to mind, maybe they're going to just be hiring moms or something, but.
Oh my gosh! But what do they? I mean, is it going to be like a Chuck E. Cheese meets Hooters? I don't like. That's the weirdest. My mind's already starting to reel with the possible like. Yeah. Or no, what is the other one? It's like Dave and Buster's, right?
Dave and Buster's is like
Dave and Buster's, the adult version of
arcade.
I say adult version, not like adult oriented, but it's not for little kids. It's more like
that's actually a really good idea.
People to go and hang out and play arcade games and have fun, right? It's just not Chuck E. Cheese, which is a little more kid birthday party-esque. Yeah. And then Hooters is on a whole nother level.
I always think of the Office episode when Michael, the boss, takes the team to Hooters for a business lunch. It goes exactly as you would expect. But anyways, on to our topic of this episode.
What are we talking about today, Reilly?
We're focusing on business longevity and how businesses can survive over the long term due to brand, and how brand actually, from what I see and based off our clients and studying this for many, many years, is that brand helps actually like really evolve the business model to a level that, a lot of businesses aren't doing on their own.
Yeah. And maybe because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the business owners are just, they're focusing on the business, which is the transaction, right? They're trying to sell a good or service, and that's what they're focusing on. And that's what they're trying to do. I mean, that's why those of you that have a small business or medium-sized business that are into brand, that's the reason you got into business, was to create something, but obviously something that's going to be profitable, something that is going to make you money, that is going to put food on the table, that is going to take care of your family and maybe generations to come. As you're building something that is going to last. That's hopefully your desire. There's other people. I mean, obviously there's people out there that there's a trend and they jump onto something, right? Just to make a quick buck doing something, whatever it is, the latest trend. And in a year or two, that trend's gone, and so are they, or so is their business, whatever it was, right? That's just the kind of little blips on the radar that come and go. But we're talking about, the people that have not really harnessed the power of their brand to its full potential. And what you're talking about, right, Reilly, is that full potential being longevity.
Right.
For the business.
Right. And so then you think about, okay, what's going to make a business last is that having customers that last, right? You need people to keep buying for you to stay in business. And so as a business, you have two choices. It's either to keep acquiring new customers, which if you're a business owner, that's extremely, extremely expensive to do. For most industries, it can be anywhere from 2 to 25 times more expensive to acquire a new customer versus just reselling to an existing customer. Or you can, option number 2 is to upsell your existing clientele and customers, or to sell more to them, because the benefit of that is that they already trust you. They already have a relationship growing with you. They've experienced your brand. They get your business, and they're starting to fall more in love with you. And so you're given the opportunity and privilege of proving more of that relationship and providing more value to them. And so before we get really started, it's like defining, transactions versus what I think is the future of a lot of businesses is focusing on lifetime value of customers. And to define this, which you'll see lifetime value come up in articles and whatnot, and it can be like the acronym of LTV is what it shortens to. But lifetime value is really going, okay, Disneyland, for example, one transaction at Disneyland, I think tickets are like $1,000 now.
Oh my gosh, it's not what it was.
Like $150.
Yeah, it wasn't like $17.99 for the ride ticket book in the '70s when I was first going.
Now it's like $150. That's a transaction. Yet you can have customers or guests return to Disneyland year after year after year, and that lifetime value of that single customer or that guest can keep going up over the time. So then you can really figure out going, okay, Reilly takes his family to Disneyland. That's whatever X amount of dollars, and they do it every year or every 2 years. That equates to this lifetime value. So obviously, right away, you're looking at the relationship with that customer and not just looking at that one-time transaction. And that's really the bone that Scott and I have to pick with a lot of businesses, that they get so darn focused on the transaction and not actually looking at that long-term value that they're providing to the customer and that relationship that the brand should really be focused on.
And if you're thinking about it as a relationship, just like the brand, the business is its relationship to the customer, put it in humans terms. How do you nurture a friendship? You've got to find ways to create experiences, to create memories, to create things that you do together with those people. Well, the same goes for your business. Finding ways to engage with your customer that isn't on the same level as business transaction.
Right. And so if it's like, okay, you want business longevity. How do you get business longevity? Is focusing on lifetime value. Well, how do you invest in lifetime value? You do that so by investing in your experience as a brand. So then as a business, you want to keep expanding that experience. Of course, it reminds me of a Seinfeld episode, but the Costanza, when he's when George is trying to get this girl to fall in love with him, and he keeps repeating his name and doing a leave behind because he's trying to increase how much time she's seeing him, and then finally she'll just fall in love with him. So it's really the same thing, where it's like when you're engaging with your customer, you don't just want that one transaction, because once that's done, they'll forget about you. It's a one and done. But once that door is open, you want to increase that experience, because only through that experience of maybe sending a valuable email that's not just a receipt or a marketing newsletter or something, but actually sending something of value where it could be lifestyle based or something that's actually going to resonate with them. You're doing a Costanza, right? And they're going to then ring that bell, and that experience right there is then what's going to help kind of really cultivate the relationship and actually make the soil so that plant can actually grow.
Hey, let me say this. By investing in the relationship of your customer, you're also investing in your own marketing.
Yeah. Right.
But the idea is, no, you're making an investment. You're showing a token of a love, or love loosely, or appreciation, right? Gratitude. You're showing a sign of gratitude. You buy something and you include a bunch of cool stickers that are like not about your brand and not your logo, but maybe they're like lifestyle things that go with whatever the product was. If it's a new camping mug, and you've got this like cool, like, oh, I love the outdoors bumper sticker that someone's going to throw on their Stanley. Then did it cost that much, a little extra for you to create those stickers and not charge people for them and throw them in there? Yeah, but guess what? That's going to, like Reilly's talking about, that's going to be an investment towards that relationship.
It sounds more complex than it needs to be, but this can be small little things. Like Scott was just saying of some of these extra little touch points you could put in, or value adds, or just understanding your audience. And even like, Scott and I we got the Remarkable tablets. And if you listen to previous episodes, I was waffling on getting one for a long time, but finally got one. And Scott and I, we love them. They're amazing. Yeah. But the marketing this brand's doing is so cool, because the whole point of a Remarkable tablet is minimalism. It's stripped away. It's like writing on paper, but just without all the clutter. And the emails they send are not about products. They're not about selling or anything, but they're lifestyle-based, promotional, kind of just like information and cool ways to be more organized, or cool ways to be more productive.
Yeah, I mean, and even for like whether it's sketches or I'm taking notes, or you're doing strategy building, whatever it is, like the Remarkable tablet, because of its ease of use and its minimal slate, it's super good for like think tanks, for people that are just brainstorming ideas and need their chicken scratching workflow and structures and org charts and whatever it is, right? They're it's productive thinking, and in a medium that allows you to capture a lot of that and email out stuff and copy and paste and all these different functions. But it's for kind of people that are looking for that are thinkers that like to, strip away all the other stuff that you get with your phone or your laptop or, even a tablet, a traditional tablet like an iPad. And so for them, like Reilly's done it for a while. I finally pulled the trigger and got one. You sign up because you have an account with them, right? But they started sending an email. I get every couple of weeks I'll get one. And what's cool though is they're not pushing the product. They're not pushing them. Yes, they have it's a branded email, but you know what they're pushing? They're pushing articles and innovations that are happening out there by other think tanks. Yeah. It's like, because they kind of figure you most likely bought this product because you are like this type of person. Yeah. So we're going to send other type of people to you. And almost like they're not a matchmaker, but I feel like they've sent some interesting links of like articles that make you think and are expanding on different things. And it's just like, again, they're not selling that, but there's a reason that I haven't added them to my junk folder, because actually like there's some value to this for how I, and there's a reason that I want it to actually come into my inbox.
Right. And even when I first got mine and I signed up, the first email I got was, or one of the first ones, it was from, he's an author that writes about productivity and whatnot, but his name is Near, I think his last name is like Isle. But I already was on
Near Isle?
Near and then EYAL. But he calls his personal newsletter is called Near and Far, because I think his first name is spelled like NIR. Okay. But he wrote books and stuff, but I already followed him. And then Remarkable did this cool collaboration with him where he's sending his productivity stuff and things within that where I'm like, oh my gosh, they like spot on with who I am and how I use Remarkable and all that. And each time it's Costanza, like it's each time that comes through where it's like, okay, this is actually valuable information from a brand that I'm engaging with daily. And I like the product, and now I like their marketing and how they're engaging with me, and that relationship is building. It's not like I just got the product and then it's, see you later. Yeah. So I think there's something to be said there of going, okay, to invest back into that lifetime value, it's increasing that experience. And it's not so much as creating more engagement and trying to have them transact more with you, but it's these little moments like a newsletter where you can add special value that's going to resonate very clearly. And, it's funny because as these business models do transform to focus less on transactions and more of the lifetime value, it's like this is what these great brands that we've talked about and idolized for decades have been doing. Yeah. This is what Apple does. This is what Microsoft does. This is what, all these killer brands, even like Costco and stuff, where it's like they're so focused on the customers first, yes, but the lifetime value of that customer. We need to make sure that that's possible for them to keep engaging, keep that experience going, and that relationship's going to grow. You think about even like Amazon Prime is like, that's why you can return anything you want. It's because they just want to keep that relationship growing. So then the experience needs to be better and better and better.
Yeah. The more they make it seamless and ease to work with and engage with as a brand, the more people are likely to do that. Again, another example we mentioned Remarkable. Another example was there's a company that sells like really cool high-end candles and also skincare beauty products. And I signed my wife up for this monthly candle subscription. She doesn't know which flavor, and their unique scents, not flavor, their unique scents that are unique only to the subscription model and not what normal people can buy online. And so she'll get a new scent every month. And she's so excited to get her box and new can. Oh my gosh, and I love this smell, and she's loved every single one. And they also send out every now and then an email that, again, talks about not only introducing her as the candle subscriber to some of their beauty products, but also like articles about like, nutrition and daily regimens for skincare that go outside the use of their product. Don't even include their product because they're pulling in outside sources, outside articles, and they're really educating my wife on natural beauty tips. But it pairs alongside and is in conjunction with their brand and their products, but they're just not pushing them because they know that by doing this, they're going to grow in favoritism for her over the long haul when she has a need for my candles or beauty lotion, body lotions or whatever it is, they're going to come to mind because they're already in a relationship with her that is beyond and not dependent on her transaction.
Right. And the more they do that, in her mind, it's like, okay, that's adding more value. It's giving her information. And depending on personality types, a lot of people do, or certain personalities will actually value information highly. So then you could have someone where they're getting health tips, wellness regimens, and those are high value items. And so depending on your audience, it could actually mean a whole lot more to them. And, again, this is like the whole Costanza thing. The only reason why I'm using that is because they've done studies where they had all these faces flashing, right? And the people just look at the screen. It's a bunch of different faces just flicking through. And at the end of it, then they show all the faces and the people get to pick which one they think looks friendlier, which one they'd be a friend with. And the people always choose the faces that they actually showed more of in the flashing. So then this brought on more studies where just through proxy or through repetition of being exposed to someone, you actually gain preference over them, or you're kind of join that kinship. And this is why, even in workplaces, people, you put them in the same office for so long and they're going to start developing relationships and just through proxy. Yeah. So it is something of being top of mind as a brand. And again, going back to that relationship of going, okay, how do we invest in this by making a really awesome experience that's providing value? And it's not just selling to them, but actually investing in that relationship, because then we can expand the lifetime value of that customer. And similar to the candles, it's like if we keep providing cool, valuable information, then that person will probably be a subscriber for longer. They'll maybe tell more people about it or pull, more like-minded individuals.
Leaning a little more into that analogy of a coworker situation. We all have coworkers, most unless you're self-employed and work at home, in which case your coworker might be a cat or a dog. But for most other people, is that you're working with other people in the office and you do develop camaraderie. You do develop friendships. And I've looked back on the years, and if you have a job change, right? Most likely those friendships go away because the purpose of that friendship was in relation of doing stuff together. You had it. Down the road, they don't come to mind. There's no effort to continue that friendship. Now, the few friendships that I have in my life that were initially coworker friendships were ones where we beyond once one of us left the employment, we made a purpose of every now and then getting together for coffee and staying connected. And that has lasted through the years. Right. And so it reminds me that if a business thinks of the engagement of its customer as a co-worker in relationship run by proxy, that's how you have the relationship. But as soon as that work environment goes away, as soon as that transaction or that transaction-based relationship recedes over time, your brand is long forgotten, just like the coworkers, friendships that you used to have 5, 10 years ago at previous employers. Right. Yeah. Right. Just like we have friendships.
It kind of reminds me of almost like marriages when marriages crumble after kids move out, because the mission that kept almost this marriage together was the kids. We got to stay together for the kids, stay together. Yeah. And then the kids all move out, and then, we don't have anything in common anymore, because they weren't.
First thing to go was.
They weren't dating. They weren't making time for themselves, or the relationship just kind of dwindled over the years. And then just like with a working or a coworker, it's like once the mission's gone, then it's like, what do we have? Yeah. And that's I think it's very similar in the sense of like, okay, beyond just the business transaction, what is this relationship that you're investing in with your customers or clients, and how do you keep building that? That's actually, it reminds me of in B2B sales, is that if, let's say you're selling a software or service to a corporation, you're going to have a point of contact there. And that point of contact, they might give you sales over the years, but once they move to a different company, you're most likely going to lose that account with that company. But the personal relationship you build with that point of contact, they may take you to that next corporation they go to. And so even in B2B sales, it's like, it's not even about your relationship with the company, but in a sales position, it's like you want to be developing those personal relationships, because they'll take you with you wherever they go, and investing in that and building that. So it's like, it works on many different levels. But this is like, I think, to kind of back all this up, it's like, this is why subscriptions and memberships have really taken so much root in our economy and been such a really seamless transition in everything from, a Walmart subscription service to Targets to Amazon Prime and even candles being subscribed to, where it's like you have, it makes sense because not only is the customer given the freedom to quit whenever they want, but it also keeps the brand accountable because they have to keep providing that value to the relationship. And just like Scott was saying, it's like going and getting coffee, going and getting drinks or going out to eat. It's like investing in the relationship isn't just the transaction.
Yeah. Especially think about it. If you have a consumable product, right? Something that has to be reacquired. Think of it as your Amazon buy again, tab that you go and you're like, I need more of those. I need more water filters for the fridge or more bags or whatever it is, right? The thing that you're ordering more of, like with anything. If you've listened to us and you got a business in mind and you're like, I don't know how I can make a subscription or membership model work with my business, don't force it. Right. That's the last thing. That's not the golden ticket. Is for brand longevity, have a subscription of some sort, right? It's got to work with your audience. It's got to make sense. But this is one that is growing in popularity because businesses are realizing it's a good model that allows them on more occasions to engage with the audience.
Right, and a membership could even be like, if you don't have a consumable product, right? It could also be like, oh, you're paying membership for access to something, for access to support that's 24/7, or access to thought leadership, or maybe a group or certain meetups or things like that, where you can start editing the model so that it fits what you're delivering. But it's also, again, the main focus is like how to build that relationship and really create an experience that people are going to go, oh yeah, this is adding value to what I'm trying to accomplish. And so then the brand has that lifetime value with the customer. A good example of kind of the access thing I mentioned is like what Costco does, where you do have membership and then you're getting access to what they're selling. They're pretty much their own marketplace where you're getting access to all these different things. Costco knows their members so well, and you feel like you're getting special perks and special deals and whatnot. But that's what has invested back into that relationship that they have with their members, which is really like Costco's business model is it's all about the membership, all of it.
Yeah, we even see, even like I'm thinking of other market sectors that have tried this type of model, even like movie theaters, right? Mm-hmm. They're starting to sell like month subscriptions where it allows you to go like to the movies like twice a week or something, and you're like, wow. And if you crunch the numbers and you go, it pays for itself if I go to the theater,
once.
Once a month, right? And you're like, I'd love to, but it's so expensive. But if you're realizing I could go catch every movie that's playing, and it pays for itself in the first few times that you go based on versus the ticket price, that might be a model in a dying sector where theaters are, they're drying up and going away because more and more, people are streaming. But I know there's a resurgence to kind of bring things back to the movie theaters, for that market sector. But that's one model that, again, it's just outside the box thinking.
Right. And what I think I like about it with memberships and subscriptions is that it aligns a lot with just kind of brand long-term thinking, where memberships are one thing, right? Subscriptions one thing. And we unfortunately always just boil these down to like, oh, it's like Netflix. But to me, it can be so much more than that. And being able to go, okay, no, the business model and the brand, they all need to focus on that relationship. How are you continually providing value to that relationship so that someone, your customer, doesn't cancel on you? Because then the business has no choice but to be proactively adding that value and ensuring, even if there is no like $10 a month subscription, they're having to ensure that customer is going to come back. So how do you do that, right? And that goes back to what we were talking about before of going, okay, create those experiences, create those moments where you can be top of mind, where you can be Costanza and help them stay, relevant and resonate with your brand. And that's going to keep building back so that lifetime value, so you have the opportunity to sell them something again, right? Yeah. And you're not just then reaching out in a marketing e-blast and going, hey, time to buy something. Like that's not the point of marketing.
Hey, we're having a big sale. Yeah, everything must go. Like all these, because that's typically you sign up, you buy one thing online, and now you're starting to get their stuff, even though you didn't check the box. You're still getting all their marketing stuff, right? Like I'm all for brands that just there's a little bit of humility in them. again, I know that there's an angle. I mean, I'm in this industry. I know marketing and advertising. There's always an angle from a brand reaching out, right? Again, even there's ulterior motives as we even talk about investing in their relationship, right? It's not truly out of love. They're doing it because they're investing, right, in the business, but through the relationship with the brand. So we get that, but I feel like when and that's why as a consumer, I'm so put off when it just becomes so, it's just nothing but sell, sell, sell. And the brands that don't do that, I am so much more receptive to as a person, as a consumer, because I just feel like it's a more honest approach. It's a more, it isn't about them.
If business longevity is the goal, that's like, you want your business to last. Businesses die off very quickly all the time. It's the same thing with like health and your health longevity of going, okay, what do you need to do to be healthy for a long time? And mostly everything you're going to have to do is all proactive things, working out, taking proper supplements, going on walks, drinking water, getting proper sleep. All of these are actually
eating lots of pizza?
Eating lots of pizza, drinking a lot.
Okay. I'm sorry.
But all of these things don't have immediate results, yet they're all investing into longevity. And really, I think business is very similar, where the health of the business has to be focused on the long term. Everything that's going to be short term results, like a sale or something where you're going to see a little spike, like Black Friday, it's really not in the interest of the long term health of the business. Or much like, when you're with your personal health, it's like everything you do has to have that in mind. When you work out a couple times, you're not going to see results right away. That's not how it works. But it's going to be, the consistency of investing in that long-term kind of journey of it. So, wrapping it up, I think it's coming back to the lifetime value of your customers, your guests, your clients, focusing on that and then going, okay, how do I get to that? How do I go from transactions to lifetime value? You need to create those moments of experience where you're able to then start developing more of that relationship, providing value, showing that you care, and really understanding your customer, because then that's going to allow them to go, okay, I can let you more in the door. Yeah. It's not just this one-time business transaction.
Well, it's just like you brought up marriages. Every good marriage is built on courtship on the front end, right? You tie the knot and you don't give up. You don't stop courting your spouse beyond that. So think of it in terms of that, is that court your audience, court your consumer, court your customer. But once they've had that transaction, don't stop dating them. Continue to court them, continue to entice them, continue to build into that relationship. It's so invaluable. And that's, again, what the whole point is that you are leveraging the power of your brand to create longevity for your business that goes beyond just that transaction.
Definitely. Well, until next time, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another round of Brandy.
Mm-hmm. Cheers.